Hey Baylor fans, this is your call to gear up with Harley-Davidson of Waco. Whether you're hitting the open road or tailgating at McLean Stadium, we've got the ride to match your Bear pride. Check out our wide selection of new and pre-owned motorcycles, visit our service department, or shop all the latest gear and accessories to show off your Baylor spirit and Harley pride. Visit us today and find your freedom on two wheels. Harley-Davidson of Waco, where Baylor fans never ride alone. Visit in-store or at hdwaco.com. Sic Em Bears.
Everybody, welcome into the Sic Em Podcast presented by Harley-Davidson of Waco. Welcome to you. We're glad you're here. Let's say welcome to Waco to a new member of Coach Dave Aranda's staff. Carson Hall is new to the Baylor staff, new to Waco, going to coach outside linebackers. Welcome to you.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate
Glad to
it.
be here.
I'm always interested the connection you guys have as coaches. And you're relatively young in the coaching business, but what was the connection between you and Coach Aranda that ultimately led you here?
Yeah, so initially the main connection was with Coach Chaney, our inside linebackers coach. We were together at Western Kentucky
Gotcha.
in 2023. And so, the spot came open and I reached out, and I had a couple other connections on the staff, and it just got rolling after about 48, 72 hours and turned into a pretty quick thing. So
very good. And you were at Western Kentucky University prior to this, 2 years there, is that right?
2 seasons, yes, sir.
Yeah. How was that? Really your first full-time job, wasn't it? How was that experience for you?
It was a great first-time position job. Coach Helton, the head coach there, was he's awesome. With, the coaches on his staff, lets you coach things the way you want to coach them and gives you a lot of freedoms in that aspect, as long as they're within his standard.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was good, a lot of, bumps and bruises along the way, learning curves, but, I felt like I really grew a lot over those 2 years.
You're from Dallas. When we say Dallas, we have to be specific. You're from Dallas, Georgia.
Dallas, Georgia.
Have you run into that anywhere? Hey, I'm from Dallas.
Yeah, usually if I'm talking to somebody from out of state, I'll just say I'm from Atlanta because it's about 30, 45 minutes outside the city. And if it's somebody that's from Georgia but not from Northwest Georgia, I say I'm from Marietta because it's the next biggest city.
Yeah.
So haven't ran into that a lot. When I was younger, I'd say I'm from Dallas, and, especially like in college, like, oh, Dallas, Texas. No, Dallas, Georgia, a little bit smaller.
That's great. And that's just outside Atlanta, not too far from Atlanta.
Yes, Northwest
Atlanta. Gotcha. And you played at the University of Georgia. You had a great playing career, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a good experience. It got me, connected to people who wind up being really influential to me now in my coaching career, which was the best piece of it. Mm-hmm. And also a lot of really good friends, that were teammates of mine that I'm still close with to this day. So it was a good experience overall. Main event also, I met my wife there.
There you go.
That's the most important thing. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that.
Very good.
But yeah, it was a good experience.
Laurel, a good Georgia girl, huh?
Oh yeah, South Georgia. So
Georgia.
She's from down near Savannah.
Yeah.
So all her family's down there, and they actually were out here with us as we moved into our house over the weekend. So
nice.
They're braving the weather right now, making it up to DFW for the flight. But yeah, it's been good.
Good. So kind of moves fast and furious, doesn't it? Get a new job, you got to come in, find a house, get your family here. How's that been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's moved quick.
Yeah.
I got the job here, and then we immediately, as soon as it became a thing, started looking, started searching, and, wound up actually, it's kind of funny, signing a lease on a house before I actually got out here.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we found a place to stay at, and, the owner of the house took us through it on FaceTime, and, hey, it looks good.
Wow.
Seems like it's in a good spot, so got into it.
Yeah.
So.
And y'all have a 1-year-old, is that right?
Yes, sir. 18 months.
18 months, all right.
18 months, yeah. He's running all over the place,
Yep.
into everything. He's all boy.
Good. Get that boy to Texas. He'll like it here.
Oh yeah. They're out here now, so he's getting accustomed to it. And every time we walk in the house now, he's a little more accustomed to it as we're going on. So he's doing good.
Good. What are some of the things that our viewers and listeners may not know or think about in a transition to a new job? Not just the professional side of it, but the personal side of it with your family and moving and finding a house and things like that.
Yeah, I would say that the most challenging part of it is, a lot of times, especially with the timing of me getting here, was like I got here and then 2 days later I was having to go out recruiting.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not able to go back and forth because of the distance to help pack and help get everything in order, close out of utilities and do all that type of stuff and get ready for the move. And that's really honestly like, my wife is a soldier when it comes to doing all that stuff. I mean, we've lived in 5 states in our 6 years of marriage overall, or really 6 years of being together, engaged or married. And so all the moves, she's been awesome handling all that stuff. And that's really probably the hardest part, I would say, on top of like when you're at a place for, a longer period of time, 2, 3, 4 years in the coaching world is a long time, right? And so when you're at a place for a long time, you get close with the guys on staff and you build really good relationships. And then, leaving those people that you're close with to come to a new spot that you don't know as much about is one of the tougher pieces too. But everybody here has been great. A lot of really good people on staff, not just good football coaches, but good people. And that's another thing that I look at, when I'm going to a new spot.
Good. You'll find, I hope you'll find, you and Laurel, you're part of the Baylor family now. So, and that's a real thing. I mean, when we say the Baylor family, there's a lot of depth to that. So I think it'll be really good for you. And we're glad you're here. And you talked about some of those moves. So University of Georgia, Illinois, Valdosta State, Western, and now Baylor. Is that right? Did I miss anything?
So since I've been in it, got done playing in January 2018 at Georgia, got right into coaching, went down to Valdosta State. I was there for 1 season. Went up to Illinois for 2 years, and then I actually, between Illinois and Georgia, I had a brief little 2-month stint at LSU as a GA.
Oh, okay.
But, opportunity opened up to go back to my alma mater and go do that, and so I, jumped from LSU to Georgia and then up to Western Kentucky. So
gotcha.
A lot, kind of made like a triangle, if you look at it like
right,
that.
Right.
A triangle, and now we're coming back out, so.
Yeah. The way I look at it also, when you were back at Georgia, pretty good 2-year run there by the Bulldogs, wasn't it? 29-1, 2 national championships.
Yep.
That's impressive. How fun was that being back at your alma mater?
It was cool, for one, being back at my alma mater, but like when you look at the people that I was with, there were people also on staff that I was familiar with, that I had known on a different side of it, but then getting to, work with those guys, like the position coach that I played for and the head coach that I played for. There were other coaches on staff that were there when I was a player, and so being able to be on the other side of it, and then obviously win a championship at your alma mater is always special, and so it was a fun experience for sure, and got to work with some really good players who, again, are also really good people too. So
good. Is Coach Aranda's reputation as part of that the reason that this was an interesting move for you?
Very much so, and it is as advertised. He is one of the smartest people that I've been around, not just in terms of football and scheme, but just in terms of life. Like, he is one of the smartest people I've been around, so I'm really excited to peel back some more of those layers and get deeper into it.
Yeah, and he last year went back to defensive play calling, which is unusual for a head coach to do that, but he's the kind of guy that can do that. I think very few probably could try to do both those things. Have you seen that?
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, that's definitely something, when you think about it, it's hard to balance, but he does a great job of turning it on and turning it off, of like, hey, we're talking defense here, like he's, dialed into that, or hey, we're in a staff meeting and we're talking overall big picture stuff. He's very good about keeping the main thing. And so that's been awesome to see so far.
Good. What do you know already, and it's early, you're just here, but what do you know about the players you'll inherit?
Yeah, so I've been able to, just through the guys being around, get connected to the guys that are here, and, they all seem like they're really good guys that work really hard, and I've seen them in the weight room and running in the indoor, doing all that stuff, and they all work really hard at what they do, and they're all guys that are, trying to do extra, trying to, go the extra mile, which is awesome, and they've been great so far, good people, and the big thing for me is just good people that love football, and it feels like the room so far is filled with that, which is awesome.
That's great. And spring coming up in March, and that's a big time, isn't it? I mean, especially for a new member of the staff to go through a spring with the team.
Oh yeah, it's big time, and I'm excited for it. Can't wait. We've just been watching tape, and I'm ready to get on the grass. I'm ready to get out there and coach the guys and pour into them and help them get better. Because that's the whole reason why we're here, right? It's to help guys get better and achieve all their goals, right? And so that's really what I'm most excited for, is to get fully into that process of like working every single day, got the pads on, doing all that stuff, and it's a fun time for sure. I'm smiling just thinking about it. So.
You are. That's great. Look ahead to the season, the schedule. I'm sure you've looked at it. I mean, that's a long ways away, but it's a tough schedule that Baylor has this fall.
Yeah, there's definitely some good competition on the schedule. Coming out hot right out of the gate with some really tough non-conference opponents, and then you look at the conference schedule. I mean, the Big 12 is no slouch. It's one of the better football conferences in the NCAA, and so it's definitely going to have a tough slate. Obviously to win championships, you got to go through tough roads, and that's going to be all throughout the season. There's going to be tough roads, but we're excited for it. Obviously making sure that hey, we're having the best spring we can have, and then building on into that as the phases go through. So.
Good. I'm curious, from afar, and you didn't really have any connections with Baylor before coming here as a coach. From afar, did you have a impression or image of Baylor, or know the name? Anything stand out in your mind? Anything Baylor had done?
Yes, I mean, I'm a sports fan for one, and so big things. Obviously, I remember back to when I was in high school, RG3 winning the Heisman and the years they had there. But also the success that coaches had here so far. As a football guy, I follow football, and as a defensive guy, I've followed Coach Aranda and what he does. And so I've had an awareness of Baylor. Obviously had never been out here before, but just being aware of that, and on top of that, the success that the basketball programs had, men's and women's. So I've always been familiar with Baylor, just hadn't had a chance to experience for myself. So.
Yeah. Very good. That's pretty good knowledge, from afar, again, looking at some of the success of Baylor. How about Laurel's perspective? Has she ever heard of Magnolia? Is that is that on the radar at all?
She's heard of it, and she knows where the silos are.
There you go.
So I'm sure that she'll be making a trip or two to the store and see all that stuff. And
very good.
She's excited for that.
Good. Big part.
She's excited for that. I'm not as excited.
Hopefully it turns out to be as good as she thinks it will be. So, and I think it will. So we're glad you're here, and it's great to visit with you and great to meet you. Glad you're part of Coach Aranda's staff, and look forward to seeing you on the grass in the spring, which is not that far away.
Oh yeah, I'm fired up for it. I can't wait. It's
good.
It's been awesome so far. Glad to be here.
Very good. Thanks for being here with us. We appreciate it. Appreciate Carson Hall, our new outside linebackers coach on Dave Aranda's staff. Part of this week's Sic Em Podcast, presented by Harley-Davidson of Waco.